Good day, this is Stephen Kelly. I'm a partner with K&O Worldwide, and today I'd like to speak to you about performance-driven project management, or PDPM as we shorten it. Performance-driven project management is a new approach to managing projects that builds upon the successes of techniques of managing projects for many decades, probably centuries. And as such, it has the traditional things as any project management approach. One, there's planning on the front end, there's actual implementation, and then of course there's the review and monitoring with changes to the plan, and then the continued cycle. And so in this sense, performance-driven project management has roots in traditional approaches. However, at the same point, performance-driven project management also, though, changes the focus a little bit from what we call modern. The first thing is that PDPM really has mostly a focus on results as we focus on project planning and not on activities or tasks. Likewise then, there's the approach of involving the team in doing planning so that we have both realistic plans, outcomes that are there, as well as the opportunity for the team to build personal commitment to what they need to achieve. Along with this then, although we have the broader planning for the overall project, there's a big focus on team horizon planning. Horizon meaning looking out a shorter way, sometimes several weeks, maybe a month, in view of the whole project, and doing very detailed planning of interim deliverables, things that must be done in the short term, so that everyone knows what needs to be completed, both quality and time schedule, as well as it's easier to monitor this. The key to this, as I mentioned previously, is personal commitments. People are involved in planning. They help set the dates for getting things done, and therefore there's a personal motivation to support the team and achieve what's been agreed to. Along with this, then, there's a continual monitoring, both self-monitoring and team monitoring, based on the deliverables that have been agreed to be done. And here you notice I'm talking about deliverables, things that are actually completed, as opposed to looking at activities or tasks and trying to estimate times for those. Now, another thing about PDPM is there's really an emphasis on early warning. Finding out as soon as possible where there may be delays coming in the project and not punishing people for that. This is very important because in many modern approaches to project management, although there's lip service paid to this, in fact, people become fearful of raising obstacles to the plan. And so they keep saying, well, we're 60% done, 80%, 83, 85% done, whatever that means, because things can either be done or not done finally. But what happens at the end, then finally it comes apart that it won't be completed on time. There's big adjustments that need to be made. So this early warning is very important, and this is tied to continual monitoring. Performance-driven project management then is a distinct change from the more traditional modern management. Many of the methods used in this approach are taken from a wonderful book by Tim J. Askew, No Surprises Project Management, written a few years ago based on his experience with Intel and other businesses. As well, it builds on performance approaches documented by such folks as Thomas Gilbert and Carl Binder and others over the past decades. The big thing is when we consider the difference between modern versus PDPM, let me just summarize then some of the highlights. First of all, it's a focus on results, not activities. Second thing is we're not worried about estimating time to do tasks. We're only focused on identifying specific commitment dates for deliverables. At the same time, as opposed to managers planning and delivering plans to teams, there's a team involvement in the planning, and this involvement includes coming up with personal commitments to specific dates for deliverables of certain quality. Although there's a broader planning process looking at the whole project, there's a large focus on interim horizon planning, focusing on the period just ahead and coming up with very, very detailed deliverables so it's easy to track progress both by the individuals and by the team. This, of course, in the context of the overall project. Things in the land of deliverables, they're either done or not done. There's no percentage completion of tasks. It's a deliverable, has a specific quality and a deadline, it's done or not done. As I mentioned previously, there's a big focus on having early warning of the team surfacing problems early so that problem solving can be done. And the other thing with PDPM, there's always an explicit discussion about trade-offs when there are changes. As is commonly talked about in all project management, you deal with issues of quality or the scope, the budget, and schedule. But often these are somewhat ignored when changes are coming into the project. And in fact, in PDPM, it's imperative to have real discussions about these kind of changes when they come about. Because if there is a movement of the schedule forward, then probably there may need to be more money devoted to resources, or in fact there can be a change in the quality. All of this is based on conditions, three conditions that allow for true performance-driven project management. These conditions were described by Bill Daniels in some of his work on breakthrough management, and the conditions are three. One is clear expectations. Team members need to have clear expectations as to schedule quality deliverables that are agreed to with both their project managers and their users or clients. The second, there has to be the opportunity for frequent self-monitoring of progress. This is key. And this progress, this kind of feedback is very important. And the third condition for this to work is people have to have the control of those resources they need personally in order to achieve those deliverables that they've committed to. So these are the three conditions. Projects themselves go through 4 stages. The first stage is an initiation stage, but it's somewhat formal. It's really coming up with a project statement and a very close definition of the project. Exactly what the final deliverables are, what the expected results and outcomes of having those deliverables will be, who are the stakeholders, the people involved, what are the time frames, budget, these sorts of things. Then there is the planning process, and here we move into those aspects that have been already talked about. That means having the team involved, putting the focus, although we have the focus on the long term, having a real good focus on interim deliverables as well as the greater deliverables. And along with this then, there's the review, but not just review on several large milestones, but fairly frequent individual and small team review meetings, weekly or bi-weekly, depending on the amount of work going on the project, to keep track of how the deliverables are being achieved. And finally, of course, the closure, as with any project, the delivery to the user, internal, external, the final results of that project. Projects themselves then can be seen to go through several levels of planning and review. On the front end, there's really the high-level planning where we're talking about major milestones, the main customer deliverables from the project, of which typically there are 3 to 5 of these. And then it's moving into more detailed horizon planning. This horizon planning can be weekly or might be bi-weekly depending upon the specific nature of the project, and focuses on interim deliverables, things that must be done or not done to certain quality standards by certain dates, and that have been committed to by individual team members. Then, along with this are then these weekly or bi-weekly deliverable reviews, short meetings where you take a look at what deliverables were promised, were they achieved or not achieved, and at the same point, are there early warnings that need to be brought up for looking at how the progress of the project is going, taking a look at this horizon of several weeks to a month forward in a very detailed fashion so that we can allow everyone to track progress. And finally, high-level reviews that would occur at important milestones, typically involving perhaps customer or other important stakeholders. So with this, the key to how a lot of this works then is tied to this continual and ongoing feedback. And for this then, with the PDPM, we've developed certain tools, the primary one being a spreadsheet that tracks deliverables, interim deliverables, by commit dates, owners, user, quality discussions, that has a tickler, a warning of things coming up soon. And then that creates a good graphic, performance against commitments, that allows everyone to easily track how in fact the team is meeting the commitments for the project over the longer term. I appreciate having the opportunity to speak to you briefly today, and encourage you to take a look closer at the PDPM approaches. I think you'll find that they can be very effective and very efficient as well, because they focus on the key issues, things that need to be done to certain quality, to certain dates. Thank you very much.